Hi everyone, I'm Rachelle Gaynor and I'm joined by my colleague Joe Anthony, and we're going to talk about how to amplify your financial services content. Now, we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to content, but whether you're an RIA, ETF issuer, fintech firm, or another financial institution, there's a lot to learn from where others have stumbled. So Joe, what is the biggest mistake you've seen financial services firms make when it comes to generating and marketing their content?
This may not be the biggest mistake, but I see it quite often. A lot of times, Rachelle, firms will put out content, whether it's video or graphics or commentary, written or otherwise, and they share this information. And too often it's backward looking. It's looking at rehashing news events, and frankly, they're being beaten to the punch by existing publications like the Wall Street Journal and Financial Times when they're putting this stuff out there. Instead, they need to be forward looking. They are the lens for their clients and their prospects to what's happening in the world. Provide them actual advice. Give them ideas on how to make their financial life better. That sort of outlook, go forward approach, is much better than rehashing old information.
I completely agree. Our clients have definitely had a lot more success with content that acts as a crystal ball rather than a rearview mirror. One of our RIA clients, Essential Wealth Advisors, they do put out a weekly markets commentary to their current and prospective investors, but instead of focusing on what has historically happened in the markets, they provide actionable advice and key takeaways for what investors should be doing right now. Now, another mistake that I've heard you mention is that content can be formulaic. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think the biggest trap that marketers are falling into is that they feel like that everything has to be on a certain cadence, where the information you're sharing has to fit a certain module. You don't always have to do blog posts. You don't always have to do videos or stick to witty graphics or things like that. Find what's going to best capture the point you're trying to share and diversify that mix with videos, podcasts, charts, anything that'll help your audience really relate to the content information you're trying to share. Be different, mix it up. They're all human beings receiving this information. Do something that's going to help them relate instead of just sticking to a formula.
Absolutely. That's a really great point. And if you're looking for a good example of this, one of our other clients, Ubiquity Retirement and Savings, they do a great job at diversifying their content across various mediums. They have a blog where they're frequently putting out written content and visuals, a YouTube channel that allows them to put out educational videos, and very active social feeds where they utilize for different charts and graphics. And each lane really adds value to a different audience. And that brings us to our next and final content blunder to avoid, which is not targeting your core market or demographic.
Yeah, Rachelle, we're seeing this time and time again. Think about it in this two different ways. The failure to target is a function of both the content, like not really touching on things that matter to them, but also the channel in which you're sharing that. And so we see where sometimes firms will sit there and say, you know what, we'll put this generic piece of content out, we'll buy the canned content and distribute it just because it's easy. It's a big trap. You're not going to relate to your audience if you're not really thinking about who your audience is and what they need to hear. And also, at the same time, if you're sharing content in ways that people aren't necessarily going to find, you're also missing the opportunity to really connect. And so finding the examples and data that will resonate, bring it to them, and finding the best channels to deliver it can make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely, and we've seen a big pickup among ETF issuers and other financial firms going as far as creating different website experiences tailored toward their different verticals.
So people ask me, like, what's the best practices? Right now, you're seeing a lot of firms out there that'll commit to the automated marketing programs, and that comes a lot with canned content. Other firms struggle with the idea, okay, well, I want to have my own voice. They want to stay on the custom content train, but they have a hard time sticking to a cadence and allow them to be consistent in regular audiences. I think the best practice is finding a way to take that customized voice, really think about your audience, but using some of the best practices of automation to really be able to hit home and stay on target with your clients.
Great. Well, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us today, Joe.
Thanks, Rachelle.
For more information on content do's and don'ts, get in touch with us today and be sure to check back into the Financial Services Marketing blog.